So yeah, this is a little bit impromptu. So my bad. um, but what I wanted to talk about today was about stepping outside of your comfort zone. And I had a very recent experience with this myself. So I have been single for, I don't know, going on 3 years now. And, I've been fine. I've been content. I'm always big on working on myself. I'm always big on making myself the best version of myself that I possibly can. So I haven't been looking for anyone. I haven't been trying to look for anyone. It just, for me, it just wasn't something that I wanted to do. But I met someone, and it was, again, very much stepping outside of my comfort zone. It was very much just this like new feeling of, okay, I felt like I was being seen, right? And the advice that I would definitely give is, with a woman especially, right, like they want to be seen. They want to be treated with respect and all that stuff. But anyway, so I met this person on Sunday and we went on our first date on Wednesday, and it went amazing. Like, it was great, and I just felt like, okay, like I could have said no. I could have remained in my like bubble of, singledom. But I felt like it was important to like take this step, especially because of the energy that I felt between me and this person. So, big things for me, and I think big things for most women probably, are, the small things. So opening the car door for them, and pulling out their seat for them. Even like the small things really mean a lot to people that, or to women that, want that type of treatment, or just in general, right? They may not even know that they want that, and it's like, oh, okay. So you just gotta open car doors and pull out their seat. Got you. Not exactly. You definitely have to be able to, put yourself out there. Like, totally just put yourself out there and be honest and be open, and it pays off, it really does. It's turned into like this really amazing thing, and it hasn't been very long, of course. But if I hadn't have put myself out there, if I hadn't have been open to receiving, like, okay, maybe this is just like what God has planned for me, maybe this is just like, what is supposed to happen. I believe that everything that happens is supposed to happen because the universe wants it to, or because your higher power wants it to. And it felt just very organic. It felt very natural. It didn't feel like there was this fakeness or anything like that. We were able to have a really good conversation. And I think that was probably the biggest component of it, was I was able to let my guard down because the conversation was so incredibly refreshing and so incredibly honest, and there was just like constant banter and laughter and things like that. And women want stuff like that too, and men deserve the opportunity to have their chance, for sure. And when we met, I I knew that he wanted to ask me for my number, but something, I guess, maybe he was scared or something, I don't know. So I found a way to get my number to him, and then from there, like, it was on, like with texting and all of that kind of stuff. And then, yeah, like the date was planned, quickly. And that was something that I really found impressive. I don't like when someone is going to waste your time, or especially like when someone's not punctual, but definitely like wasting your time as far as like not engaging in conversation or on their phone the whole time, or all of those little things that I guess are kind of common these days, and none of that occurred. Definitely I have a certain presence and I was like, okay, and I said, I was like, this is what I like, this is how I like to be treated. I was very upfront and very honest, because I was not going to be in a position where I wasn't going to voice what my needs were. But the same goes for men as well, right? Like, you also have that power. You have that power to voice your needs. It's just on how you do it. It's just on how you communicate. For some people, it's really difficult for them to communicate, and I completely understand. I completely get it, because there's been times in my life where I found it impossible to communicate with some people. I don't know, I had this block. I was like, I don't know how to communicate with this certain kind of person, or I don't know how to get through to this certain type of person, and but it wasn't with like the idea of trying to date someone. It was just like a general like, okay, what is the best way to communicate with this person? What's the best way for me to be able to express my wants and my needs, but also put myself in a position to where I can accept and listen to their wants and their needs, right? Because it has to be like back and forth. It can't just be going one way. When it's going one way, it's not going to work. And you shouldn't allow yourself to be treated in a way that you don't deserve. But you also shouldn't treat people in a way that they don't deserve either. You should always treat people with respect and kindness, and give people the opportunity, right? Give them a chance. I'm not saying for a romantic relationship, but giving people a chance, I think, is so incredibly important, because a lot of times we get kind of stuck in our little lanes, right? We get stuck in, work mode. We get stuck in parent mode. We get stuck in all these different modes and all these different responsibilities that we have, and we're not paying attention to kind of what's going on around us sometimes. And I know that that was the bubble that I had been living in for the past few years, was kind of just like, warding it all off intentionally, like always wearing a ring that looked like a wedding ring, just trying to like ward off all of it, because I was like, I'm not ready for this. I don't feel like I'm ready for this. I don't want to really spend time with anybody, it's just not what I want. But sometimes there's just an energy that's there. You do you. I completely understand. If you don't want to try, I get it. You don't have to. But working out's really good, so that's awesome. But yeah, so just stepping out of your zone, like staying away from everything that's like conventional for you. I'm not saying change up your life completely. All I'm saying is taking those little steps. You just never know where it's going to lead. You never know what opportunities can happen. You just never know, right? And had things not happened exactly the way that they happened, I definitely wouldn't be having this live stream for sure. And I wouldn't feel comfortable really to even talk about it, because in the past, most of my people know, they're like, yeah, no, she always kind of avoids those questions and all of that. It's like, yeah, very true, because that was one of my things. It was my boundary. And I think that having boundaries are incredibly important, and you should have them, but sometimes it is good to step outside of your comfort zone and to give something a chance. Maybe not a person, but give something a chance. Give some whatever it is, right? Maybe just trying to do what you have been thinking about doing, like, and you've just been kind of caught like in that fear zone. Release it. Take a few breaths, release it, and be like, there's no reason for me to feel afraid. Absolutely not. There's no reason, because life is too short to limit yourself and to limit your potential and to limit, what you could have in your life. It's just too short. It's so important to really, try to get the most you can out of your life, no matter what that entails, right? Because everybody's lives are very different. Everybody has different goals. Everybody has different, ways of being. And it's not always easy, and it is scary. It's a scary thing to like step outside of the norm and to step outside of what you typically do. It's a scary thing. I'm not going to say that it's not, but it's possible to do it by honestly just taking a few deep breaths and making the choice, making the decision. Yes, I'm going to do this because it feels right for me, or it feels right for my body, or it feels right in some way, or I sense this energy about this thing, or about this person, or about this whatever, right? And I have seen in myself that I've been a lot more smiley. I've been a lot more like, oh, okay, like life is great and life is good. But it's because I had forgotten what it was like to have someone be so supportive of like so many different, things. And this person didn't need to be, like it wasn't their job or whatever. It was just out of the kindness of their heart. And I think sometimes you can even think about your own like friends, your own family members. When we're thinking about those people, are we offering them support? It doesn't matter if you agree with the idea, but at least they are having one. At least they're trying something different. Are we offering support? Oh, thank you so much. That's very sweet. Are you offering support to the people around you? Do you feel like you're capable of offering support to the people around you, right? And sometimes you need to have your tank filled up first before you can really do that, before you're able to truly like, okay, I can definitely be more supportive, or be more empathetic, or be more understanding, or be more present, right? Because that was the biggest thing, was that entire time that we spent together, there was no phones, no like anything like that, except to check the time, for when I had to be home. But there wasn't this like overwhelming need to just be, on the phone or be distracted. And a lot of times that's what we're using our phones for, right? We're using them as a distraction tool. We're using them to help us with our anxiety, or with our neuroses, or with our... Aw, hi Danny, thank you so much. I hope you do too, hun. Happy Friday the 13th. So just having, that ability to kind of refill your own tank, right? Even if it's via someone else kind of helping you do that. And sometimes you won't even know that you're missing out on something. Sometimes you don't even know that you're not experiencing something that is actually really amazing and really special. So it's not about, like just like a person. Again, it can be a situation. It can be something that you've been wanting to do. It can be anything, right? But just having the balls to pretty much step out of your comfort zone, do something different, be a better version of yourself. Because that's always what the theme is with my live streams. It's just try to be a better version of yourself, whatever that is for you. And I'm not saying take these huge, big steps. No. I'm saying take small steps. Take small steps towards your own growth. Take small steps towards your own, you know, finding your happiness or finding, you know, whatever it is that brings you joy. And I have just found that my relationships with people, being more present for my family, being more present for my, well, for a lot of things, really, just really focusing on being present and in the moment, even right now, right? Like focusing on not so much like, oh, what's the next thing I'm gonna say? I'm not worried about that at all. I'm just like, I just want to be here in this moment right now and enjoy this moment and go from there, and that's it. It's not a big thing, it's not this huge deal. And anyone can do it. It's just taking a step. It's just what, as small as you want it to be, right? It's just taking a step and choosing to do whatever it is that you truly want to do, or, you know, even if it is, you know, wanting to like try dating again, or something like that, right? Taking the leap. And the worst thing that can happen is no. And I always feel like people get really shut down by the word no. They get really shut down by, you know, this idea of like rejection. And it's like, I think the best way to see it is this, okay? It's not you so much that's being rejected. It's that other person is projecting themselves onto you, and they're seeing something about themselves in you for whatever reason. It's not your fault, but they're seeing something that maybe they don't like. Sorry, I've gum in my mouth. So, you know, it's just like they're seeing something that they don't like about themselves, you know? And when that happens, that's when rejection tends to happen. But a lot of the time, it has nothing to do with the person that's getting rejected. It has a lot more to do with the person that's doing the rejecting. And that may sound like something that a wellness coach would just say to make a person feel better. It's not. It's actually true. You know, there's so many times I've seen it with my clients, I've seen it in my life, I've seen it in other people's lives, where they feel this like, oh, like they did get outside their comfort zone, they did try something, they did do something new, and it maybe just didn't work out that time. You know, maybe it just wasn't working out. And that's totally okay, because at least you took the chance. At least you made the effort. It's not even so much about anybody else. It's usually always about you, right? It's about, did I make this effort? Like, am I going to be proud of myself for overcoming this fear? Yes or no? I mean, that's the question that you have to kind of ask yourself. Are you going to be proud of yourself for overcoming this, even regardless if you get some form of rejection or not? And if you can still feel like you would be proud of yourself because you took the chance, do it. Even if you don't sometimes, I still suggest do it, because you just never know how you're going to grow. You never know what sides of yourself you're going to actually start to really see and that are going to come forward. And you never know just what will happen. And there's too many, we don't have a lot of time on this earth, you know? So when you find yourself in a position to be able to have this like new experience, you know, and even if it's scary, but having a new experience, and it does work out, it's awesome, of course, absolutely. But even if it doesn't, it's still like, okay, I'm so glad that I did that. I'm so glad that I put myself out there. I'm so glad that I made the attempt. I'm so glad that I did something that I normally do not do, like, ever. It's just one of those things. And finding your way back into kind of like, I just feel like it helps you understand yourself so much more. when you do face a fear, when you do something that is outside of your norm, when you're not stuck in routine. Routine is good. Routine is great for a lot of things, right? Routine is even good for growth. But for exponential growth, stepping outside of your comfort zone is the ideal. And yes, it is. It's scary. It straight up is very scary. Very scary sometimes. But again, would you be proud of yourself? Yes or no? That's what I would ask myself. That's what I did ask myself, to be honest. I was like, would I be mad if I said no to this situation? Would I be kicking myself later? And I know now for sure that it's a yes. So I'm really glad that, I made the effort and did something different. And I've always felt like when I make these shifts in my life, not in relationships, but in my growth, right, in my journey, I have always found that it always works out. It always ends up working out. Even if I don't think in the moment that it is, it always ends up working out. And why? It's because I had faith in myself and belief in myself that I could do whatever it was that I put my mind to. And also because I was willing to trust another person. I was willing to let someone in that I hadn't let in before, you know? And you don't have to do what I did. Like I said, you can focus this on a situation. You can focus this on a goal that you have. You can focus this on whatever you would like. But try it. Just try it. Just see what it feels like, It's like, just for a second, just to see how it feels, Like, just go ahead and try something new. Try something different. Be, the best version of yourself. And you'll always make yourself proud. And that's really what matters the most, is how you feel about yourself. And feeling not just good about yourself, but feeling okay, I did something. I actually made a change and it has worked out for me and it's been a good thing for me. And I, found a situation that now I feel a lot more settled, a lot more confident, I guess, in a way. I mean, I'm a very confident person, but it's just helpful sometimes too, when you're put in the situation that I was put into. You find yourself seeing yourself a little bit differently and understanding that oh, okay, I understand now that I am seen a certain way and I didn't know that, and sometimes it's just a nice surprise. It's nice to, have a different experience. It's nice to just do something different, whatever it is, right? Just doing something that you've been wanting to do, doing something that excites you, doing something that scares you, all of those things. And even if it's a small thing, it still counts, it still counts. It's still a big deal. And I would be proud of you for taking any type of step that you want to take in whatever direction you want to take it into, however you want to grow, however you want to challenge yourself, however you want to, I don't know, I guess I just see it all at, when you face fear, I see it all as improvement. So other thing, what happened was, okay, so what a lot of my wellness crew knows is that I volunteer. And today was one of my volunteer days. And here in Texas, we are dealing with this onslaught of crickets. It is bananas. So I am very, very afraid of bugs. And what happened? I faced a fear today, and I was like helping get some of the crickets like out of the place that I volunteer at. And was it scary? Yeah. Does it sound like a stupid thing? Yeah, it certainly does. But in all honesty, like when you're afraid of something, even if it's just crickets, then you are like actively participating in getting these crickets out of the store. It's like, okay, that's also a growth like experience because I'm deathly afraid of bugs. Like I'm just one of those people like, nope, I'm not gonna go camping. I'm not gonna do any of that stuff. But that's just me, right? I'm not clowning on it for anybody else. Like, absolutely, people love the outdoors. I get it. I like the outdoors too, just not camping. But you know, it's just all these little things that are kind of happening that keep on adding up, and that's what happens when you make that decision the first time. When you make the decision to be more open or to try something new, right? It tends to snowball into you doing this on a more consistent basis and into having your growth be more exponential, right? Having it be faster. Almost making like that, having a little bit of fear for a few minutes a day, almost making that part of your routine just for growth, just for like, oh, wait, I can do this. I'm fine. Like this is not going to hurt me. This is not going to be negative in any capacity. I'm a little bit traumatized because a cricket ended up on my head, but you know, outside of that, it's all right. So, you know, regardless, sometimes it's just that first initial decision, that first, like, okay, I'm gonna do something different. And then again, like I said, then it turns into a whole bunch of little something different. And it's just, again, a way to grow, a way to be proud of yourself, a way to kind of like really up level your self-esteem, your self-worth, just because you're doing something that you're afraid of, and you're doing something where you do not know what the outcome is going to be, but you're doing it anyways, and that's amazing. So that was what I wanted to talk about. It was just stepping out of your comfort zone, whatever that may be for you, right? Because everyone's different. And making the decision to go ahead and live that truth and live it, even if it's just for a few minutes a day, or even if it's just for a few hours out of the week, whatever it may be, right? It is so important, so essential for growth, and it will also just be good for you as a person. It'll just be a good thing to live in fear a little bit, right? To go into the unknown. It's always a good thing. Like, that's basically it. So if anybody has any questions or anything like that, I would love to take them. I have like a minute. But outside of that, you know, I just really hope that someone out there feels encouraged to take a step outside of their norm and to do something that's going to be beneficial to them. And, or even if they don't know if it's going to be beneficial to them, but they're still going to try it anyways because they, you know, just want to have a little bit of change in their life, right? Have things be a little bit different. That's pretty much it. If there's not any questions or anything like that, then no worries. Thank you to everyone who joined this live stream. I appreciate you so much. And I will see you on the next one. Be well, stay wild.